If you are like us, you're probably wondering what travel will look like into the future. That's difficult, it's just too complex, and right now no one can call the fate of the industry post-COVID-19. Welcome to Excel Travel Trends, where we've pulled together the thoughts and opinions of our experts to share with you how we see the evolution of travel into the future. Whether you are a corporate traveler, a travel booker, a decision maker, or a leisure traveler, this landscape has changed forever. In spite of other epidemics, natural disasters, and devastating acts of terrorism, the inherent desire to travel has remained one of life's most aspirational goals for many. Not only were those global events off-putting for us travelers, but so was the thought of a long delay, lost luggage, hours of discomfort, the invasion of personal space by fellow travelers, and yet nothing actually put us off. Particularly that the airline industry made travel reachable to those who couldn't always afford to travel. Accessible fares were easy to access, and we chased cheap ticket prices, ignoring binding fare rules and travel insurance in the process. Well, our experts predict that this will be one of the first things to change. Business and leisure travelers have been made more conscious about their well-being and the financial impact of unexpected events since Corona. And we will see the prioritization of travel insurance in the early stages of the booking process. Ensuring that our customers purchase travel insurance has always been a key component of the travel booking process when it is in the hands of an Excel travel consultant, and that won't change. In fact, right now we are working closely with our longtime partners, Hollard Travel Insurance, to make sure we understand the needs of our travelers in this new world we're traveling in. What are the risks, hygiene, wellness, and the cost of unexpected quarantine? Until our own and other international borders are opened, understandably, domestic travel will be the first to resume, and it may not always be via plane. Economically, South Africans are shattered, so those planning a few days away with the family may be opting for a drive to the bush or the mountains just to change the scenery after lockdown. South Africa is a land of diverse destinations and experiences, usually enjoyed by foreign tourists. Well, now is the time for locals to make the most of it and explore the magnificence on our doorstep. The recovery of all affected industries is going to be dependent on the ability to control the spread of the virus. For that reason, travel is unfortunately interpreted as a high risk and will only begin to resume when lockdown is downgraded to a level 1 status. Before the pandemic, the travel, tourism, and hospitality industries accounted for over 1.2 million jobs in South Africa and contributed more than 8% to economic activity. It may not be conceivable for the industry to recover to those levels, but what is important is that any recovery must be sustainable. Much is being said about what the airlines are needing to change in terms of social distancing and hygiene. But perhaps the biggest challenge the industry has to overcome is one of reputation. Whilst travel and tourism is such an aspiration for so many, it is also a term that is broadly used, and the intricacies of the industry are often misunderstood. Tourism relates to those visitors enjoying some leisure time, traveling to or in and around South Africa, essentially domestic tourism. The term leisure travel has been coined to describe those business travelers who extend their work trips to include some time to enjoy the tourism on offer in the country they've traveled to. Travel is broadly speaking the term we use to describe those bookings made for South Africans who are either traveling domestically or leaving the borders of our country. Even though the industry has an exceptional safety record in terms of airlines, there is a lot that can be done to improve the overall efficiencies that prevail within it. And this time of lockdown is being used by the Excel Travel Group to do just that. We are looking at the booking process, ensuring that the technology on offer meets our customer needs. We're examining the options for travel policies, and importantly, we are managing the data available. But we have to admit that throughout this global lockdown, the travel industry has taken the brunt of it. First to be affected and seemingly the last to return to operation. There's a sense of despair for many about the impact and the sheer reputational damage that has been done through no fault of our own. Rebuilding the reputation will take more than technology. It will take the human touch, a travel advisor to ensure that passengers are safely booked and made aware of the requirements throughout the supply chain. A travel advisor who is available throughout the journey to assist passengers in need, but more importantly, a travel advisor to ensure that itineraries are planned and booked that meet the needs of tomorrow's traveler. Common phrases that have been catapulted to the forefront of every conversation include social distancing, isolation, deep cleaning, quarantine, face masks, ventilators, and sanitation. Just about every corner of the world is familiar with the meaning of these phrases, which is why establishments and airlines are going to be vigilant in ensuring that their part of this travel supply chain is maintained in accordance with global standards. Pre-pandemic, it was common to blame a bout of flu on the condition of the air on a recent plane trip that one took. This blame was nothing more than hot air, excuse the pun. Whether it was true or not, perception became reality and we accepted the fate. Post-pandemic, it will be unacceptable to merely play the blame game. Global citizens will become excruciatingly vocal about all things hygienic. The new norm for travelers will be face masks, gloves, sanitation, and assurance from all accommodation establishments, restaurants and airlines that their products meet the health, hygiene and safety requirements. Air travel and accommodation are not the only aspects of travel that will garner skepticism from travelers. It will extend to places to visit, points of interest, historical sites, conferences, events, concerts and other tourist attractions. Corona has amplified the concerns we have had for many years, and to quote National Geographic's first digital nomad, Andrew Evans, tourism can show us the magic of the world, and it can teach us the truth of staggering human inequality and a planet in peril. The emergence of the conscious traveler will see companies extend their carbon footprint, reporting to other sustainable measures which will include physical acts of compensation. Planting trees may be so last decade, but positively contributing to the local environment of the places we visit may fast become the norm. Talking about company travel, a bigger portion of the Southern African travel market is made up of business travel, and the do's and don'ts can be found within a carefully crafted company travel policy. Often ignored, this policy documents the liability and an interesting term referred to as duty of care. This implies that companies are accountable and responsible for the safety, security, and good health of the travelers that are conducting business on their behalf. This business may require travel, and the policy is built to ensure compliance and governance regulations are met. This global pandemic will leave a lasting impression, and placating travelers and sponsors will take a lot of convincing. A seal of hygiene may be the assurance that passengers are looking for. In the bathroom and the hotel room, on the airplane seat and in the hired car, on the train, on the escalators in shopping centers and airports, the list is endless. Understandably, major hotel chains are going to great lengths to introduce their global cleanliness initiatives in the fight of COVID-19. Our partners such as Marriott International and Beachcomber Tours are already leading the way by rolling out platforms that they have developed for their cleanliness standards, as well as hospitality norms and behaviors to meet the new health and safety challenges presented by the current pandemic environment. But the need extends beyond global brands, and we will see the demand for guest houses and smaller establishments to meet the quality assurance standards from independent certification providers. Safety protocols are extending beyond safety belts and in-flight instructions, and are sure to adopt a no-touch policy avoiding direct contact between their staff and the travelers. Online boarding passes, compulsory face masks, self-scanning of the passports may be some of the pre-flight requirements. More drastic exercises for the airlines involve reconfiguring the seating on the aircraft. We've heard of leaving the middle seat vacant, which according to IATA should not happen. Understandably, the increased cost will impact the airline and ultimately the traveller, which defeats any future recovery objectives. It is in these times that our confidence in our preferred partners soars. The extent of the information that we receive from them about the work they are doing to navigate the way forward is really heartening. Emirates Airlines have such a good track record when it comes to meeting passenger needs. And now they are extending that to managing the risk associated with passenger hygiene and wellness on board. Innovative as always, they have been screening passengers prior to boarding by doing a quick finger prick blood test. Within minutes, a passenger knows their current COVID-19 status. Passengers who test positive will naturally be denied boarding. This does possibly mean physically checking in earlier for your flights. Rethinking the travel process may include the introduction of remote and mobile check-in terminals equipped with a medical checkup facility. Of course, the long-debated biometric security scans may be fast-tracked to extend even further, depicting passenger temperatures. Embassies and consulates who issue visas may well extend their visa application forms and ask for detailed information about recent countries visited and a verified health check. The infrastructure here would require some setup and possibly would not alleviate the health checks imposed by the airline. In the few years prior to COVID-19, the cruising industry was the fastest growing in terms of products on offer to tourists, and sadly, the first to flounder with the onset of the pandemic. It will take great skill for the cruise companies to navigate their way through the short term, but the effort they make in reassuring the public will go a long way to entice their market back. Cruising remains great value, and it will take more than Corona to deter those ardent repeat passengers. Cruise liners actually already follow ardent hygiene protocols and have medical health check facilities throughout the voyage. They will, however, step it up a notch. Attention to isolation cabins and ensuring quarantine facilities are made available will be paramount. Cruising is a very enticing market, and it will continue to tick passengers' wish lists. Now is not the time for a price war among suppliers. Travelers are more informed than they've ever been before and may view cheap as unsafe. Lockdown level, whatever, has tested everyone's patience, and restricting our movements have made us even more determined to travel. It will start with a few local road trips, the opportunity to get back to the bush, and will then move to regional visits. As soon as our borders are opened, we will see the excitement to rebook what we have had to cancel. But it will be a while before we venture back to packed exhibitions, crowded sporting events, and sweaty rock concerts. With all this talk of local travel and the desire we have for a good old-fashioned road trip, we will see our customers opting to rent a car. Once again, our partners in the car rental space have worked closely on developing their standards in the backdrop of COVID-19. Avis, Budget, Europcar and First Car Rental are brands that have proved their credibility and earned our trust. Not too long ago, they pioneered water-saving tactics without compromising delivery of a clean car to the renter, and we expect the same when it comes to assurances of sanitizing more than just the steering wheel. South Africans have proved it before. We are robust and resilient, especially when it comes to travel. It takes a lot to keep us from climbing on an aircraft, but this time it's different. Those leisure travelers who can afford to travel may fall into an age category that may not be allowed to travel, and the rest of us who are functionally fit are financially strapped. There is no easy answer, but what we have learned through this time is that crisis can happen, and the obligation we have to ourselves, our businesses and our families is to act responsibly. Now is not the time to rush things. Now is not the time to go at it alone. Now is the time to seek advice from your XL travel consultant. And now is the time to check for credibility of providers. Slowly the world will reconnect and normal will never be the same again. And that in the very least may be a good thing. Create your new normal with intention and with purpose. From us here at Excel Travel, we will get through this together. We will fill that bucket list again. Stay strong, stay healthy, and stay with us. We're going to take off once more.